Today we are going to discuss about the time value of money. In my last lecture, as we have studied about the objectives of financial management, and the objectives are being divided into two parts, that is the profit maximization and the another one was wealth maximization. However, the wealth maximization was considered as the most appropriate objective of the financial management. Reason for that was that wealth maximization considers the time value of money and the profit maximization totally ignores the time value of money. That's why it is very important to know about the time value of money. Now let's start with the time value of money. Time value of money can be studied from the two points of views, that is from investors' point of views and from the firm's point of view. Investors needs to invest their money which are being saved by the investors. Now, if they invest their money today, they have to sacrifice their current needs or their current money. And when they make an investment in the share of a particular company, they get the benefits up from that share after a particular time period. That's why they earn a particular amount of money in future itself. Likewise, whenever a firm invests their money in any project or if they buy a certain amount of assets, they invest their money today itself. That's why the outflow of money is certain, however, the inflow of money is uncertain. Moreover, most of the current needs are being satisfied by borrowing the money. Whenever a person borrows the money to fulfill its current needs, he needs to pay the interest or the principal amount somewhere in the future. That's why time value of money have different perspectives. The time value of money says that the value of money earned today is more than the same amount of money which is being earned after few years or say in future. Now let's take an example of a rational investor. If a rational investor is being given an option to receive a particular amount of money, let's say rupees 100, either today or say after 5 years, obviously he'll go for the 100 rupees today itself. Reason of this is that because the amount of money which is being earned after a particular amount of time, say after 5 years, is very uncertain. That's why uncertainty is the point behind the time value of money. And moreover, everyone wants to satisfy its current needs and they have little concern about the future needs, because the present needs are more urgent than the future needs. Now the concept time value of money is divided into two parts or can be studied in two ways. The first concept is compounding technique. It can also be termed as future value of money. And the second technique is discounting technique. We can also call it as present value of money. Now let's discuss about the first concept of time value of money, which is the compounding technique, or as I have said, it can also be said as the future value of money. Now every person wants to receive money today itself, not in the future, because every person has a time advantage associated with the current inflows of money. But if we have given an option to a person, like I have discussed even before, that if a person is given an option to receive 100 rupees today or after say 5 years, he will refuse to receive that money. But if the person is being duly compensated for the time which he has to sacrifice, then obviously he may agree to receive the same amount of money in future itself. Let's take an example of this. Suppose a person needs to give 100 rupees or he wishes to invest 100 rupees in a bank, and bank is giving 10% interest per annum. Suppose if he has invested this rupees 100 for say 5 years, and we need to see that how much amount of money is he going to get after the 5 years. Let us discuss the same example on the timeline. The person has invested rupees 100 today itself. That's why the outflow of money is rupees 100. He has invested his money for 5 years in a bank. We need to calculate How much amount of money will this person will get after 5 years? And the person is getting 10% interest. Now a simple formula to calculate this is that the future value of money is equals to the present value of money multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate raised to power the time, wherein R stands for the interest and T stands for the time. In this question, the person has invested rupees 100 today itself and we need to calculate the future value of rupees 100. That's why putting the same values in the formula, the future value of investing rupees 100 today is the present value, and the present value is 100 because we have invested rupees 100 multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate, and the interest rate is 10%, and raised to power the time. Time is 5 years. The same thing can also be calculated using the number line. One can easily see that there are 5 laps. First, second, third, fourth and 5 laps. And this 100 rupees which I have written wish to go in future. That's why it's written as 100 into the interest rate raised to power the laps, that is the time, the 5 years. One can solve this question by using the calculator, or you can also use the future value table. That's why it can also be written as 100 into future value table for 10% of 5 years. Looking at the value in the table, the value is 1.611, which gives you an answer is equals to rupees 161.1. That means if a person invests rupees 100 today itself, and if he has given or he has been offered 10% rate of interest by the bank, and if he keeps the money for another 5 years in the bank, he is going to receive 161 rupees after 5 years. That's why he is being duly compensated for the time for which he is sacrificing his today's investment. Let us take another example. Now this example is of series of payments. Now we want to calculate the future value of money for certain series of payment. Suppose if a person has invested rupees 1000 at the end of first year, 2000 at the end of second year, 3000 at the end of third year, 2000 at the end of fourth year, and 1500 at the end of fifth year. Now he wants to calculate that what will be the time value of money, or what will be the future value of the series of payment which he has made in the bank after 5 years, and the bank is offering him the rate of interest of 10% per annum. Now let us calculate this using the same formula, that is future value of money is equals to present value of money into 1 plus the rate of interest raised to power the time. Or one can also calculate it by using the time value of monies, or one can also calculate it by using the timeline itself. Now we have made the different series of payment in this example. Now the first series of payment was, we have different present values. First series of payment was 1000, the second series of payment was 2000, the third was 3000, the fourth was 2000, and the fifth one was 1500, and we made all of these payments at the end of the years. Now using the number line, as you can see that the first 1000 rupees was at first year, and we needs to calculate the future value of money say after 5 years. That means this 1000 of money we needs to take it towards the fifth year. Likewise, we need to carry forward this 2000 towards the fifth year. Same goes with the 3000 and same goes with the 4000. Now using the formula, the first payment was of 1000 rupees multiplied by the rate of interest is 10% raised to power the time. Now calculate the lapse. For the first 1000 payment, the lapse is first, second, 3 and 4. 4 lapse are there. For the second payment, 2000 into the rate of interest. Now calculate the lapse. We have 3 lapse remaining. For 3000, we have got 2 lapse remaining. For 2000, we have got just 1 lap remaining. And for this 1500, the last payment that the person has made at the end of the 5th year, we need not multiply it by any rate of interest since the payment was made at the end of the 5th year. And as you can see, after this 1500, no lap is there. That's why we need not multiply it by anything. You can also use the future value table. It will be like this. Future value table for the 10% of 4 years. 2000 into future value table of 10% of 3 years. 3000 into future value table 10% for the second year. 2000 into future value table for the 10% of 1 year. An addition of 1500. Now looking at the future value table, the values will be like this. 1000 into 1.464 plus 2000 into 1.331 plus 3000 into 1.210 plus again 2000 into 1.100 and 1500 as it is. Using this, the answer will be 11,456 rupees. That's why for these series of payment, the person is going to get this much amount using the time value of money formula, or by using the number line, you can easily calculate all of these payments. Now let us take an example. Suppose if a person invests rupees 1000 at the end of the first year, same amount 1000 at the end of the second year, 1000 at the end of the third year, and 1000 at the end of the fourth year. That's why he is making the same series of payments for every year. Now, if the bank offers 10% rate of interest to him, he wished to calculate the future value of money after 4 years. As we know, the formula is future value of money is equals to present value of money into the rate of interest raised to by the time. Either you can use the same thing that you have done, that is 1000 into the rate of interest 10% raised to by the time, that is 3 years. Reason for this is that this 1000 needs to go to the fourth year and the number of laps between it is 3 laps. For the second year is 1000 into the rate of interest raised to power the time, and the number of laps are, as you can see, there are 2 laps. For the third year it's 1000 into 1 plus the rate of interest raised to power the number of laps are only 1, because this 1000 needs to go to the next year. The number of laps between it is just 1 plus 1000. This payment was made at the end of the fourth year. That's why no interest will be given to this 1000. Either you can calculate just by having a look at the formula of the future value table for the 10% of 3 years, and likewise for the second year or for the first year, and you can calculate easily the answer. But there is one complication in it, is that it takes more time. We can eliminate this time constraint from it. Reason for this is we can easily bring out 1000 in common from the formula, and this can only be done when the series of payments are equal. Like 1000 is being invested by the person every year, but in my last example the person was paying different series of payment. Now here the person is paying the same amount, that's why we can take it as a common. Whenever we face such kind of situation, instead of using the above formula, we can easily calculate the same thing by very simple method, that is the present value of money, or just one payment that the person is paying, that is 1000. Instead of using different laps, we can easily write it down as the future value of annuity. Annuity is nothing but the addition that you can see into the 10% for the 4 years, because the person is paying 1000 each year for 4 years. Looking at the future value annuity table for the 10% of the 4 years, the value is 4.641, and calculating this, the answer we get is 4641 rupees. That's why the future value of the same amount of payment that the person is making, he is going to get 4641 rupees. And for this purpose, you should not use the formula that we have discussed in my second example. You should use the formula that we have discussed in this example by using the future value of annuity. So by using the compounded factor or the future value factor, we can easily calculate the value of money in future. Thank you.